lot of people, this is an exciting time of year because you get to see things grow or regrow. It kind of is rejuvenating to the heart. Likely each of us has been in somebody's house where they have markings on the wall when their children are growing up. And you can see on a certain date how tall they were. And they grow up. But how do you know when a child is grown up? And so I'd like to share a story with you that I read on the internet. Is these two teenagers were dating, and so the boyfriend came over to the girlfriend's house, and the boyfriend was playing video games with the brother. And so, that's a good way for them to bond. And so while they're playing the video games, the girlfriend comes in and she interrupts the situation. And the boyfriend gets up and he slaps the girlfriend. So, the brother is not going to take this. The brother takes him outside. Now, immediately you think, okay, they're going to duke it out. And the brother is going to teach him a lesson. But all he does is he takes him outside. And he tells him that there was hitting a girl is not appropriate, is not good, and he just basically explains to him that that's inappropriate, and don't do it again. So he doesn't actually do what we're expecting. He does something that's very mature, and actually even some adults could learn from this example. And so, we also recognize in life that we have growing pains, we have to learn our lessons. And sometimes these are not so easy. And sometimes we have to allow people to go through their growing pains. And this is really what's happening in the first reading from the book of the prophet Ezekiel. There is an announcement that Jerusalem is going to be destroyed. But there's going to be a replanting, and the replanting is going to be fueled by the Messiah. The Messiah is going to come and establish a universal kingdom, a kingdom that will bring regeneration to the Israelite people. And sometimes we need somebody to come into our lives, to be present to us, so we can regrow, we can regenerate our own lives as well, especially in this time that we're in today. Now, one of the things that Jesus did a lot in his life is he proclaimed the kingdom of God, or the universal kingdom that is alluded to in our first reading. Now, he uses the example of parables, or he uses the first parable is one of scattering seeds. And like any gardener, when I'm scattering seeds or planting seeds, in the instructions on the back of the package, it tells you how far you're supposed to plant and how deep. Well, I have to admit, for me, sometimes it's educated guess. And if you have something like carrot seeds, for me, I just go for it. You just scatter and you just hope for the best. And in my mind, I think, well, it's probably easier just to thin them out than to try to make sure that they're 2 centimeters apart and 1/4 inch deep. But if we think of a humble seed like a carrot seed, it's very small. In one sense, it's very insignificant, and as I mentioned, it's humble. And this was the kingdom of God. Even though Jesus has a lot of people following him, they don't truly realize truthfully that God reigns in the life and the person of Jesus. They don't identify the divinity of Jesus. Well, mind you, some people do, and often these are people that you would least expect. But these are people who have obviously grown in their faith, and they have come to recognize the truth of who God is, and they can see that in the person of Jesus. And then the same as a mustard seed, a mustard seed is like a dot or a period on a page. Very small, very insignificant, very small. I already said that. And humble. And it grows into a large shrub. Notice it doesn't, Jesus didn't pick a grand tree. Once again, even at its largest form, it is quite humble. And this is to emphasize the humility that we are to have, and the humility, obviously, of Jesus in his life, who humbled himself and accepted to become human, even accepted death on a cross, as the Philippian hymns proclaims to us. and always is humbly ready to help us to rejuvenate our lives. And one of the ways that we can really grow in faith is to live our lives to please the Lord. Now, how do we please the Lord? As we live our lives in the same manner as Jesus. We can pick a number of things that Jesus did in his life. He loved people, loved his enemies, so we have to do that. He honored his parents. We have to do that. Coming up to Father's Day next weekend. Don't forget Father's Day, just like Mother's Day. You don't want to forget those days. And so, you know, when we're little kids, it's our focus is on ourselves, but then later on our focus becomes the Lord, and we want to do everything we can to please the Lord. And really it's because once we come to know even a speck, even a mustard seed of who God is, we want to respond to the best of our ability. And so once again, we recognize that we need our nourishment as we gather around the table, Lord, to once again be refueled, regenerated, refocused, so that we can live our lives and we can help other people to grow, especially in faith, hope, and love.